Oh, good morning, everyone. Dr. Rick Wallace here again. Want to drop in on you and hopefully offer you something that will not only inspire you, lift your spirits, and motivate you, but give you some insight on how you can start taking your level of existence to an entirely different level. And some people ask, well, when you speak about living life at the next level, when you speak about uh, taking your existence to the next level, aren't you being somewhat presumptuous that the people that are watching it, are not at a level that they want to be at? Well, my thing is, I'm not talking to people who want to be comfortable. I'm sure there's some people who hear this that are, in a lovely home that, they can brag on, that have, a six-figure income, that have achieved a number of things. Here's the thing. I've achieved a lot, but I'm never in my life at any point, no matter what heights I had attained, was I comfortable? Was I satisfied? Good morning, Tia. Was I satisfied with where I was at? So I'm talking to people who understands that as long as you are actually living, that's still another level. There's a next level that you can live on, and you are always striving to take yourself to the next level. When you study the greats, you find out that's one thing they have about them is this drive to be better, understanding that they never reach perfection. So there's always something they can work on. There's always somewhere they can improve. So when I'm talking to people about raising their level of living, I'm not speaking down on them. I'm speaking directly at them or directly to them, because I understand every day I wake up with an opportunity to raise my level of living, and every day I engage that level. So I want to share something with you. I want to remind everybody that today is Friday. So those of you who haven't been paying attention or haven't heard, I committed a few weeks back to doing a free virtual seminar on success, on life enhancement, on life empowerment, on the principles of success, the principles of greatness, and to do that once a week throughout 2017. So we're just getting started. We're on week number 2 for this. Today is going to be a topic, the keys to unlocking, accessing, and living your dreams. I'm going to break down, I'm going to give you about 10 keys that if you start to actually develop your mindset to be to create these habits. They're basically 10 habits that equate to a higher level of living, equate to a higher rate of success, equate to the attainment of greatness in a number of different ways. But I'm going to get them to you, and I'm going to do it in 30 minutes. It's going to be an intense, power-packed 30 minutes. It's going to break them down to you, make you relate to them, show you how you can engage them and get started immediately in developing those habits. What I want to talk to you now about is the need for you, if you really want to be a dreamer, if you really want to go after things in life that other people look at and say is impossible, if you want to take your life to the stratosphere of success, one thing that you're going to have is a thing that most people don't want. You're going to have the capacity to be delusional. Now, in its official or classical definition, delusional is a word that's actually taken from a Latin word which means to deceive. So actually the word means one who deceives themselves, or to deceive yourself, to look at something and be deceptive in your perception of it, based on a number of different things. In its more official connotation, it's normally associated with some sort of mental disorder when you become consistently delusional. When I say become delusional, I mean to look at things that are considered impossible and see that in your mindset and in your life you can do it. So being delusional is like saying, hey, look, I mean, think about it. Think about it. Everybody that's done something super extraordinary, that broke a barrier, that brought in a new era or whatever it was, they had to be somewhat delusional, and they had to be considered delusional by the people around them. You don't think that Orville and Wilbur Wright were considered delusional? When they're talking about, hey man, we're gonna put some stuff together, we're gonna put some material that has weight to it with no energy to it. We're gonna put some energy with it, but we're gonna fly. And then you didn't take it a step further. You get engineers come into this thing and say, oh man, they got something going on. We're gonna be able to take metal, bend metal, make cabins, put wings on those cabins, and fly across the ocean. That was delusional. No matter how you look at it, we're gonna send men into space. That's delusional. Edison, I'm gonna do something where I'm tired of having to light this lamp every time I get ready to do something. I'm about to sit up and do something where you can just walk in a room and flip a switch on and a light comes on. Dude, you out of your freaking mind. I mean, just go through and think about the people who decided they were going to do something that had not been done yet, and the people that thought they were crazy and delusional. You've got to be delusional in order to step out of the realm of impossibility. If you're not delusional, you're going to be trained to remain in a box of logic and reason. But what happens is your dreams and the impossible and the exceptional and the extraordinary and the phenomenal does not take place inside the box of reason. You've got to actually be willing to step outside of the box of reason and step into the space of impossibility, where impossibility is transformed into the possible. That's done through delusion. You got to actually believe what everybody else says is absolutely impossible to do is possible. So people are going to look at you and say you crazy. I'm pretty sure they told Orville and Wilbur Wright, we're about to commit you any moment now if y'all don't get y'all behind somewhere and sit down. I'm pretty sure when Roger Bannister in 1954 was telling everybody he's training to run a sub 4-minute mile, he's going to break the 4-minute barrier in the mile, and he's training and he's going to do it. They're looking at him like, don't you know it's physically impossible for a human to run a mile in under 4 minutes? Never been done, Roger, never been done. Roger shows up, does it. Since then, over 20,000 people have run a sub 4-minute mile, including high school students. When you take the mental barriers off, it becomes possible. You got to have in your mind that you're going to be a person that's going to remove a mental barrier that's blocking people right now. You're going to be the first person to break through this barrier that's out there. You are gifted for it. You have been prepared for it. All you've got to do is refine your skills and train your talents and go out and get it. Anything that's worth having is going to require you to be invested in it. It's going to require you to have the capacity to be delusional in the beginning of this until you start seeing the dots connect, until you start seeing things fall into place, until you start seeing the universe move and conspire on your behalf. I'm talking about the energy that's created by that delusion that you're having is actually energy that is created by faith. Check this out. Because somebody else doesn't believe that it's possible doesn't mean that it's impossible. The moment that you decide that it is possible, it has just become possible. And that energy that you have that causes you to believe that it's possible is being emitted through your pores, through your voice, through the carbon dioxide that you exhale when you breathe in. Everything that you are emitting outside of you is energy that's going out into the universe. And if it's going out positively with expectation, with anticipation, with the belief that what you are setting your mind to do will be done, it causes the universe to conspire on your behalf to bring back to you what you're going after. Now it's not just you anymore. It's the entire universe, the energy of the cosmos working on your behalf, standing alongside with you, partnering with you to go out and do what everybody else said was impossible. It's people that have been failed multiple times in schools, told that they could never learn. They had a learning disability. They would never be able to do anything or practice anything or become anything that had anything that required any type of significant intellectual capacity. And these people decided within themselves, with the help and the nurturing of others around them, that that was not going to be the case, that they were going to go out and they were going to take the world by the horns, and they were going to go out and be something extraordinary, be something special. And these people, one of them is a person that I admire, that I look up to, that I study intensely. Les Brown, born in an abandoned building, abandoned and adopted at the age of 6 weeks old, along with his twin brother. In school, it's determined that he has a learning disability. He's declared to be marginally retarded. And he goes through school with this title. He fails, if I'm not mistaken, he fails in the 4th grade, or he gets put back in the 4th grade. He gets to the 8th grade, it happens to him again. He goes through his entire high school carrying that label of being marginally retarded. And there was this one teacher that took him in the 11th grade and told him never to say that about himself again. Spoke into his life and told him there was nothing impossible for him. One teacher. It just took one person to say that what they're saying about you, you don't have to accept it. And so many of us have accepted titles and labels that some other nut put on us. And we've been walking in the constrictions, the restrictions, and the limitations of that title. But Les decided he was going to be something. And Les was driven by one thing when he started. The woman that adopted him and raised him and loved him, he wanted to provide some things for her in her older years so she wouldn't have to worry and suffer and struggle in her later years. And so his drive was that he pushed through. He pushed through. I mean, and he didn't become the motivational speaker you see him until he was in his 40s. But he still pushed. He became a DJ. It was everything he did, he pushed. He became the best at it because he was the hardest worker at it. He committed himself to the commitments that he had made. That mindset got him there. He was delusional. No, how in the world somebody declared mentally retarded, barely gets out of high school, doesn't have any college training? How in the world do you expect to speak to millions of people and get them to believe in themselves when you're who you are and where you are? That's the problem. Most people that are giving you labels, that are placing labels on your back, are consumed with where you are. This is something you've got to understand, and you've got to understand this well now. You've got to understand that where you are is not where you're going. What we've got to understand is that we have the capacity placed inside of you. I see that actually Sandra has actually brought this point up. I make this point all the time. When I'm working with my clients, when I'm speaking, when I'm lecturing, make this all the time. I believe in intelligent design. I believe that the order of the universe is too well defined and too well sustained. It's too many things. Scientists have found over 100 things that if it varies or moves in any direction with 1 to 1.5% life on this planet as it exists would end. And yet it's been held in place. It functions and it does the same thing time after time, year after year. It's just held in place. That's order. Order does not happen by accident. Order is something that is design. Well, I believe in design. I believe a person finds their purpose by evaluating their design. There's something unique in that design, whether it's in your mental capacity, whether it's in your speaking ability, whether it's in the natural charisma you have to draw people to you. There is something that's unique to you, and it's meant for you to do what you're here to do. Now, check this out. What we understand is that scientists discovered this some time ago, a while ago, that humans only use 10% of their brain capacity. Well, here's my thing. Why in the world would the designer give us this unbelievable, marvelous brain? The average person has between 30,000 and 50,000 thoughts that pass through their subconscious mind every day. and there are literally millions of neurons firing off every day. You're literally, as you're changing the way you're thinking, remapping your mind to create new opportunities. That's how awesome your brain is, but you're only using 10% of it. And what you have to take into your consideration is it's nowhere in the world that this grand designer with this infinite intelligence sit up and gave you all this capacity for you to only sit on to sit on 90 of it and only use 10. The thing is, very few people learn how to access it because everybody's been convinced to stay inside the box. So as she actually makes a point, she makes a good point. The delusional isn't really being delusional. I'm using it metaphorically. It's to believe in yourself. It's to sit up and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm capable of doing, and I can do it. It's about talking yourself into doing something instead of talking yourself out of it. When I look at something, I was telling the people in the power team during the video conference yesterday, I was telling them, I want you to dream big over the weekend. I want you to sit up and come up with these crazy ideas of what you want to do with your vision. I want you to take the limitations off. I don't want you to look at anything. As a matter of fact, you're not allowed to consider any way or any reason it won't work. You're only allowed to look at how it can be done. You're only allowed to look at what can happen if you do the right things. You can't look at it. You can't say, man, if I don't have this, it's not going to work. If this doesn't go that way, it's going to fail. You're not allowed to think of that. Take the restrictions off. Because here's the thing. Every restriction that you can name, every obstacle that you can name, everything that you can set up and come up with and say that it will cause failure can be overcome. There's no obstacle you can come up against in life that if you stay committed, you continue to push, you don't allow your grind to forsake you, you're going to go get it. You're going to go get it. The problem is people allow people to put them in boxes, put them in limitations. I love being around kids, 5 years old and under. The ones that haven't been in school long enough to have school rob them of their innocence, their imagination, where they're starting to be told to be realistic, where they're starting to be told maybe you want to consider doing something else because you don't have this type of gift, you don't have this type of capacity. No one's ever done that before. I don't think you should be focusing on that. That's not possible. Before they get all that, just sit down and listen to some kids. They see a house worth $1 million and they look at it and say, I like it. That's my house. I'm going to get that. They're not playing. They're not sitting up fantasizing. They're sitting up saying, I can have it. You don't get it because that's so far beyond you. You just see the game. They're dreaming. They're sitting up saying, I don't have it now, but I'm going to have it. That's where the vision starts. It starts where you don't have it. Nobody started out where they are right now. When I look at it as a motivational speaker and a life coach, when I look at it and I look at all the people I've studied, the Zig Ziglars, the Jim Rohns, the Tony Robinson, the Les Browns, the Eric Thomases, and these cats, when I look at them, I know for a fact that's not where they started because, see, I studied their stories. And I found that they all started with meager beginnings. But they believed in themselves. They had dreams, and it didn't always go well. They had to fight through it, and I see that it was perseverance. It was hard work. It was being committed to the commitment. It was those little things that nobody really wants to do. That's one of the reasons why I say all the time, if you're going to be somebody that's exceptional, if you're going to be somebody that's phenomenal, if you want to do the unattainable, you're going to have to be willing to do some things that other people don't do so that at some point in your life, you'll have the things that other people don't have. That's how you're going to have to commit to it. You've got to be absolutely delusional, metaphorically speaking, because it's not a delusion. You're capable. In truth of the matter, it's not a delusion. It's a reality. But you got to be that way. You got to have the mindset of being delusional. You got to have a mindset. If people don't think you're crazy when they hear about your dreams, you're not dreaming big enough. Like Stephen Furtick said, I say this all the time. I'm about to jump off of here. Like Stephen Furtick said, man, I love this particular quote. If the vision that you have for your life isn't so huge that it intimidates you, it's probably insulting God. You have a purpose, and it's hidden in your design. It's hidden in your spiritual makeup, your emotional makeup, your physical makeup. You have this gift, this talent, and you have this genius. What's the difference? The gift and the talent is the thing that you are able to do. The genius is the natural innate ability inside of you to take that and use it. You just know. You ain't never seen a kid work their parent and you be like, they're only 2. And I mean, they got the logic going, they got it, and they work in the hands. That's not something they were taught. That's naturally a gift. Whether they're going to be a speaker, whether they're going to be a negotiator, whether they're going to be an attorney, is unknown at that moment. But what it means is they know how to enter into a situation and influence it. Being an influencer is an unbelievable thing. It's so many ways you can go with it. But here's what I'm trying to get you to do. I hope that you guys tune in at 11 o'clock. I'm going to stop back by in maybe about an hour and drop the log on information to the 30-minute seminar. We're going to be talking about the keys to unlocking and accessing and living your dreams. And my thing is, I'm real big on dreaming big. That's one thing that, unfortunately, so many people fail to do. So many people set their goals and their visions and their dreams based off of what they know they can do, or even worse, based off of what they believe other people will look at and say that's a good, acceptable and attainable goal. I'm not thinking about the attainability because I've trained myself at this stage in my life that if I can conceive it, I can achieve it. So if it's in my head, I can do it. So I don't even I don't evaluate whether it's possible or not no more. Where I'm at in my life now, if it pops in my head and I say, man, I gotta do it, it's going to get done. Now, the time frames may have to be worked with and moved around, but see, I don't quit because I don't hit a time frame goal. What I always find out, and it's never failed me yet, if I set a goal and I put a time limit on it, which I do because that's important to create the urgency. But when I sit up and I put a time limit on it and I get to that time limit and I haven't reached that goal, I'm not defeated. I look at that as failing forward. Here's why. I have yet to see a moment when I do that I haven't advanced from where I started when I set the goal. So I didn't hit the 100,000 for the month, but I hit 60. So I'm 60,000 ahead of where I started from, which is better than where most is at. Now check this out. What I do is I immediately step back at the month, at the point of the goal, evaluate what I did to get to 60, look at what I could have did differently, look at what I could have did better, go back and get the 40 in a lot less time than it got to 60. That's how you do things. You're going to fail. You're going to fail your way to success. Stop sitting up trying to avoid failure. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to stumble and fall. Like Les Brown say, man, when you fall, just try your best to land on your back, because if you land on your back, you can look up. And I'm a witness to this. When you have the opportunity to look up, you can get up. Because when you look up, you see everything that's out there for you to go get. It represents everything that's out there. When you're face down, you see nothing but the dirt you're laying in. But when you can be on your back, so if you fall on your face, roll over. Don't lay there in it. Don't start thinking about how stupid the decision was you made that got you there. Don't start thinking about the heartbreak you're going through because she left you there or he left you there. Don't let that, you immediately sit down when your face hits that dirt, roll over. And when you roll over, you're looking up at all the possibilities that you still have in your life. Sit yourself up, stand yourself up, dust yourself off, and tell yourself, let's go get it. That's what it's about. It's about overcoming the obstacles. It's about overcoming the mistakes. So with all that being said, I'm sorry for the dark image today. Didn't use lighting, just jumped up here. Man, I've been up since 4. I'm telling you, this has been a whirlwind week, lot going on, still not finished. It's going to be this way for me going all the way into the year because I'm taking some things into the new year with me. I'm taking some people into the new year with me, taking a new bride into the new year with me. And so I'm moving 100 miles an hour. I'm exhausted physically, but with all that being said, I was up at 4 a.m. That's the difference between a lot of people too. A lot of people are too caught up in comfort. I worked all week long, so I'm sleeping in on Saturday. I worked. I'm gonna reward myself by sleeping in and relaxing on Saturday. I'm in consistent beast mode, grind mode. Why? Now, I'm not saying don't sleep, because sleep is a part of the process. I get my sleep, but I know exactly how much sleep my body needs. And that's a point where my body get where any sleep after that actually starts to hurt me. And I know where that is. So I go to bed at a time that I can get that and get up in the morning, because when you get up in the morning, you are naturally more fresh, more focused than you are at night. So I don't push too far to go night. Now, if it's something that's got to be done and I don't want it going into tomorrow, I'll stay up and get it done. But I'm more focused on having myself up at a time that most people aren't up. Why? Because I'm out working. That's my whole thing. I've got to outwork the people that are smarter than me. I've got to outwork the people who are more talented than me. I got to outwork the people who have more resources than I do. So I can't afford to sit back and pretend that I've reached my goal. And even when I get to my goal, I'm not going to be satisfied with that. I'm going to reset the goal, the same thing I've done all of my life. I'm going to go get it. It's never going to be a moment in my life that I turn around and say, I finally arrived. That day will never happen. I'm enjoying some great moments in my life right now. I'm at a pinnacle of emotional satisfaction right now, because, like I said, I'm about to take a new bride into into 2017. Actually, we're about to hop a plane in less than 24 hours and head to Puerto Rico to make this thing happen. And so I'm excited about that. But see, even that was a work in progress. People don't understand. You know, I look at the fact that I had failed that marriage, and this is nothing against my former spouses. I failed that marriage, and that's how I put it. I never sit up and point the finger at them. People who know me know all the things that went on, but I never sit up and point the finger, because as a man who is supposed to be in control of his destiny, I had influence on it. I obviously didn't do what I needed to do, but what I did is in 2000 in the year 2000, when I did that, when I failed for the second time, I made up in my mind that I wasn't going to fail again. And what that meant to me was I'm not going to do it again until I know what I'm doing. I wanted to be married more than anything, because I was reared by my great-grandparents. And they were married for 43 years when my grandfather passed away. Now, the funny thing is they were both each other's third marriage. Again, showing that it takes some learning and training and understanding when you enter into something of that significance. And sometimes it takes a couple of times to get it right. While we don't want to admit it, not everybody gets it right the first time. So we've got to learn from our mistakes. And what I did is I set out to understand what I was doing wrong. How should I confront marriage? How should I engage marriage? How should I enter marriage? What can my next wife expect from me? What should I be expected from her? And I put, literally 12 years into that studying that, and it culminated into my book, When Your House Is Not a Home. And it deals with conflict in the marriage, but it also deals with being prepared before you enter the marriage. And see, that's what I did. I started preparing myself so that when the right person came along, I was prepared to do what I needed to do. Far too many people enter relationships, marriage first, but all of the relationships, more focused on the expectations on their partner than they have on the expectations of themselves. See, I'm entering this with expectations, with my greatest focus on the expectations I have of me. What am I bringing to the table? How am I going to make her life better? How am I going to make sure that as the head and the leader of this union, that she's secure enough to function in her gifts and to function in her dreams and to be able to function in her role with me? What am I going to do to make this situation as powerful as I possibly can? I'm not looking at her and saying, this is what I need from you. I'm looking at her and saying, I got you. I'm going to come in and I'm going to give you such a set environment. You're going to naturally do everything I need you to do. I'm not going to demand anything from you. I'm demanding from myself, and I'm giving of myself. And I know that when I do that, it will bring back what I need from you. That's the difference in when you in a relationship. It's more about learning how to be what you need to be than trying to get what you can out of someone else. And that's what you're going to have to be in life. You're going to have to go in every situation understanding what is needed from you. What are you giving? Stop expecting stuff from other people. Start being who you need to be, giving every ounce of you to everything you touch. If you're not going to give it your all, don't touch it. If you're not going to pour every ounce that you have according to what that needs into it, leave it alone. It's nothing worse than something being half done. It shows your sense of commitment. It shows your sense of consistency. It shows your sense of pride and self and quality in work. It shows exactly why you will never be all the things you say you want to be. See, you don't get what you want anyway. You get who you are. And because you won't become it, you're still trying to ease by with just enough to get by. You'll never have it. Because, see, you got to become it before you can have it. And you're still trying to pretend. Man, I just hope you guys tune in, because these keys to unlocking, activating, and living your dreams is going to be on point. It's going to be 30 minutes of intense go get it, get it, get it, get it. You know, and more life lessons, man. I'm going to do some more things on this relationship thing. I think most of y'all know I'm real big on marriage. I'm real big on the family. And, you know, the first part of making sure that the family is solidified is solidifying the relationship between the man and the woman. And we got a problem right now. And so I'm going to be talking about that a lot, you know, in the coming weeks. And, you know, I've spent so much time talking about it long before I even met my lady, man. You know, I was talking about it. So when she came into my life, man, to be honest with you, I'm sharing real right now. To be honest with you, man, I gave her fits because I had made up in my mind, man, that I can't do it again. So I was real critical. And despite my critical assessments, she just kept being her. Truly authentic, truly giving, truly loving. I sit down and have a conversation with her, and she would look at me, and she would see my love. She didn't see nothing but my love for her. She knew I loved her. And then that was this point. This one day I just woke up and I told myself, dude, stop being a fool. This is it. She's the one. It's her. It's never going to be a situation that's perfect. What you put into it is going to determine what it is. What you're able to give her will determine what she's able to give you. Stop looking at her any other way except for the fact that she's loving you, she's loyal, and she is consistent in what she does and how she treats you. Go take that and hold it. And ever since then, I'm like, hey, let's do this thing. And here we are. But there's so much to that, man. It's so much to stop judging our women as men. Stop talking down to our women as men. Stop blaming our women for everything that's going wrong. Start being the support system they need. Start being the protector they need. Start being the covering spiritually that they need. Start being the force that's so strong around them that it gives them permission to blossom. That's what I'm talking about. All of this is tied together. You can't be whole if you can't be a husband. I'm telling you right now. Now, whether you ever become one or not is not what I'm talking about. I'm saying if you don't have the capacity within yourself to be a good husband, you can't have it all. You can never achieve optimal success because there are some things missing. There's some things that being a husband teaches you about life and prepares you to go out and do. Well, that's it, man. Hopefully I see you guys at 11. Bring your pens and your paper. Come ready to get fed, cause I'm finna feed. Yeah, I'm ready to do that. Like I said, I'm going into 2017. I have 5 operating and active businesses now, which puts me at a total for 44 for my life. The 5 I have now have all turned to profit, but right now I'm focused on this one because this one is going to be what I use to fuel my work in the community. And this one I'm going to take to the stratosphere. I am going to elevate it a minimum of 5 levels from where it's at right now in the markets that it exists in. It exists in multiple markets, and I'm going in and I'm going to make my presence felt in every one of those markets. Trust me. 2017, people will know who I am, what I'm doing, what I'm about, and they will want a piece of it because I'm authentic, because I'm real, and because I bring it. I love you guys. I'll holler at y'all later. Like I always say, I'm going to die on E. I'm going to get it, and I'm leaving everything out there. Everything. I encourage you to do the same thing. It's no use in taking it with you. Leave it out there. Invest in every second. You'll get a return. Peace.